and welcome to this pre-performance interview for ROCopera's Song Cycle Festival. I have here with me Kerri Lynn Slominski, soprano extraordinaire, and she's going to tell us a whole bunch about her song cycle, Der Albtraum, which is something of her own creation, with songs, of course, by Franz Schubert. So, Kerri Lynn, please tell
Yeah.
me, what is this? Der
Okay.
Albtraum. How did you conceive of it? What is it about? And yeah, tell us everything.
Okay. So I decided to do something a little different. German lieder has always been a personal favorite of mine, and Franz Schubert has a very special place in my heart. And I've performed his works before, but I've never been able to perform Er König. So I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to take it on. I personally feel that Er König is a micro opera in itself.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, I created a story that was centered around that particular piece, and then I incorporated two of Schubert's well-known songs, Nacht und Träume, Du bist die Ruhe, and then his two lesser-known pieces, Der Knabe and Bertha Lied in der Nacht. And then I also wanted to bring on some lead motifs or musical phrases that are associated with the characters I created. So I used his unfinished symphony, which is in B minor, because a lot of the pieces kind of mimicked that symphony. For those of you who don't know, Schubert is a late classical to early romantic era German composer. He only lived to be about 31 years old, and most people associate him as a strophic and folk romantic composer. However, he was plagued with depression. He wasn't a hopeless romantic like we all assumed. He actually struggled. He once said, "When I wished to sing of love, it turned to sorrow, and when I wished to sing of sorrow, it transformed for me into love." That's one of my favorite quotes by him. So, knowing that we were all struggling during this unfortunate, unprecedented time of during the pandemic, I thought, let's bring his music to life in a different light. And the fun fact about Er König is Schubert actually composed it when he was 18 years old, and he didn't have a piano, so he had to actually visit a friend's house to see how it turned out. So,
Wow.
and I'm
I
delighted to
relate.
bring this music to life. I know.
Awesome. I'm so excited to see it. So tell me a little bit more about how this conception that you have of this sort of dream arc and coping with depression and things, how you conceived of it to speak to specifically our pandemic situation today in the
Absolutely.
past 10 months. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yes. So, when the pandemic was it hit and we were put on state of emergency and state lockdown, I refused to tell myself not to sing despite the fact that they told us that we were super spreaders. I knew everything that I had on my calendar was canceled, and although hopeless, I turned to my music. I still practiced daily, and although I was revisiting old roles and looking at learning new music, Schubert was a constant in my daily routine of practice, and so every day I would go through my Schubert book and pick a piece of his that brought me so much comfort. And I think when I was looking for something to perform in this particular song cycle festival, I had many options and I had many ideas, but I kept going back to Schubert. Um, so I also was thinking about how am I going to do this? And I had several ideas. How am I going to create something? So I read about how the pandemic was causing everyone to have strange dreams.
Hmm.
And I wanted to use that as a theme, as a central idea. So then immediately I thought about children and how when we're young, we don't know what's going on in the world. And they were saying that children were having nightmares, and it's always hard when children face those, but when they're facing those during an unprecedented time, it's hard to kind of display that. So I thought, well, Er König shows a young boy who is, telling his father, "The Elf King is coming after me." And I thought, "What if I put that in a dream sequence?" So then I found the other pieces, and Dear Kanaba is a young boy saying, "I wanna fly away, and I'm gonna do this and that." So I thought, Colin, who is my young little boy in the story, has a vivid imagination, but struggles with the nightmares, the Albtraum. So, um, it just kind of once I wrote it out, it just kind of it just I couldn't stop. Some nights I couldn't sleep because I had so many ideas. Um, and I'm really proud of what I made. It's very different. It's a little weird, but it's been exciting. It's been an exciting journey.
That's great. I am so thrilled and so excited that Rock Opera was able to create this platform for so many singers to experience these bursts of creativity in a time where it really felt like we were not going to have anything creative happen ever again. And
Absolutely.
so I'm excited that it kind of triggered that in you, and I'm so thrilled.
I know,
So,
I know.
so
Yeah.
speaking of all of these ideas, tell me a little bit about how it was to actually like put these ideas into motion, how to actually create the thing that you had sort of seen in your mind's eye. What was the process like?
Well, I had, like I said, when I started, I had a zillion ideas, and the process was a little bit easy. I recorded the audio with pianist Alex Kundinski. And we were able to rehearse. We were very far apart. We had our social distancing and masking going on. But it's always wonderful when you can actually be in the same room as another musician and collaborate and make music
Mhm.
together.
Yeah.
I always get misty. I'm like, "Oh my god, we're gonna perform again." So that was exciting. And so we recorded all of the audio, and I actually ended up doing one video with him just because I had a certain way I wanted to look. I won't give any more spoilers away for that particular
Yeah,
scene.
watch it.
Um, yes. But, halfway through the prep, I was jokingly telling my friends, I'm like, "This is gonna be a garbage fire. Like, this is not working."
No.
Because I'm not I I know the basics of iMovie. I know how to produce, I know how to make shows in a theater, but when you're limited to your iPhone and your iPad and your MacBook and you're just trying to figure out how this is gonna work, there were days that I was like, "No," and then there were days that are like, "This is really good." The challenging part was, of course, lip syncing. I remember
Right?
I did that, like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, like, I remember I did that as a project in opera workshop, like, many, many years ago, but
Um,
it's not as easy as it looks, and I give anyone any credit who can do it well. This was my first attempt. I was also my first attempt on using green screen, um,
mhm,
and I had character art, which I incorporated as I guess you would call them puppets, but I mean, they could be like little marionettes or whatever, and having to figure out how to project them and use the green screen and film them and then put the sound and everything layering. It's a process. And then, of course, I'm thinking in a different language, and I want to make sure you all do what I was saying. So I learned how to do super titles or subtitles, depending on whichever you like saying, and that
mhm.
was a process. But I'm really, really, really proud of this performance, and I really think it's a little bit different, but I think everyone's going to enjoy it.
I'm like I said, I'm really excited to see what you have come up with because I love your ideas so much, and
Thank you.
yeah, and you're a fabulous singer too, and so it's just going to be like icing on the cake. So,
Yeah, yeah,
tune in, folks. Sunday, January 31st at 7 p.m. That's a Sunday. I said that already.
it's a
Although
Sunday.
and although it premieres at 7 p.m., remember that these videos will be available for 24 hours afterwards. So even if you don't get
Yeah,
to it right away, if you have a ticket, you will be able to see it all the way through the 24 hours afterwards. So thank
and
you
watch
so
it
much, Kerri
again and
Lynn, for
again.
chatting
You're
with us and
welcome.
telling
Thank
us all about your
you.
song cycle. Everyone, go enjoy it, watch it, and tell us what you think.
Thank you.